As coronavirus protests erupt across the country over lockdown orders, a critical question emerges. Is America at the breaking point? Nancy Pelosi says she did not downplay the severity of coronavirus when she did her tour of Chinatown and said everything is safe. And a left-wing hit piece targets the work of Franklin Graham. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. I want to give a quick thank you to everyone who showed up for the Saturday live stream. Got to take a tour of the studio. If you missed that, please check it out. It was a really fun show, and we're going to do more of those. But let's jump into the news, and we're going to start with a critical question. Is America at the breaking point? I'd love to know what you think with these lockdown orders that have been going on for a long time now. Has America had enough? Have you had enough? What do you think about it? Can you go on longer? Are you ready to get back to work? What are your thoughts? Because President Trump announced a plan to reopen the country, but it's a slow, phased-in approach, step by step. And in the past 4 weeks, 22 million people have filed new unemployment claims. And protests are starting to pop up state after state after state. Here's what happened just yesterday in Wisconsin. Protesters gathered at the Wisconsin Capitol on Sunday to urge Governor Tony Evers to lift his extended stay-home order. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports about 6 dozen protesters rallied to call on Evers to change his mind. Last week, Evers extended his stay-at-home order until after Memorial Day to help stem the spread of coronavirus. But the demonstrators carried signs rejecting the idea that the threat of infection is worth the damage business closings are having on the economy. When we start labeling people as essential or non-essential and picking winners and losers in terms of who is important and who is not, then we do is remove a whole bunch of really valuable people from a vast, lush network of the economy, said Kirsten Lombard, 53 of McFarland. Another rally is planned at the state capitol on Friday, the day the original order was to end, demanding that Evers reopen the state. Actually, I love that quote. I really do, because it hits the nail on the head. When you have government in control, government is picking winners and losers. Government is telling you that your job is essential and your job isn't. Government is telling you that you can keep working and you will hit the unemployment line. Should government have that kind of control in the United States of America? So that's Wisconsin. Here's Minnesota. Emboldened by tweets from President Donald Trump, hundreds of people rallied outside Governor Tim Walz's residence Friday to oppose his stay-home orders imposed to slow the spread of coronavirus. The Liberate Minnesota rally, estimated by St. Paul police at about 800 protesters, was cheered by Republican leaders in Minnesota who have grown increasingly critical of record job losses that have followed social distancing directives. In a sign of deepening partisan rift over the COVID-19 pandemic in Congress and in state houses across the country, rallies aimed at Democratic governors have accused them of tyranny, echoing themes of the Tea Party movement of the Obama era. Wow, what a slanted article, and I wanted to use that one so you see how the writing is. It's as if Republicans are the only ones across the entire country who are frustrated. As if Republicans are the only ones who want to get back to work and have had enough. As if Republicans are the only ones that think some of these orders are extreme and inconsistent and make no sense. Yet that's what the article does, tries to frame it as all President Trump and Republicans pushing this movement. And it makes absolutely no sense. So that was Wisconsin, that was Minnesota. Check out this report of what happened in Michigan.
Horns blared as many draped themselves in the flag. Others waved flags from the roofs of their vehicles. There were boat trailers and business vehicles. The drone video from the Conservative Coalition, which organized this rally, shows a traffic jam like few here have seen at the Capitol.
Wow, all those cars going down the street, waving flags, beeping their horns. It was awesome. Here are some comments from the organizer.
Organizer Matt Seeley wanted the governor to know
this is government overreach on steroids, and we've got to get back to just following the Bill of Rights, and people need to understand that an executive order is not the law.
Wow, what a great comment. And folks, he's absolutely right. And this goes back to a core tenet that I've said from the beginning of this whole outbreak. And that is, we need a uniquely American solution to an American problem. France is going to do things their way. Italy will have a solution of its own. Russia will do what Russia does. China will disinform and cover up and spread fake news, but that's what China does. Here in America, we have to respect people's rights. We have rights. We granted government certain powers through the Constitution. We can't just throw that away when a crisis happens. We have to say, this is our form of government. We are the freest country in the world, and because of that, we have to approach the problem in a certain way. So that didn't stop. All these protests, of course, brought out the left-wingers, brought out the protesters. MSNBC came out on Sunday and called conservatives and Republicans a Fox News Nazi cult. That's how they described the protesters going out this weekend and over the past week. Again, as if Republicans are the only ones who are fed up, as if they are the only ones who have had enough. It's just outrageous. So before we get to the next story, which is Nancy Pelosi, I just want to say thank you for making the show so successful. In case you haven't been following the little numbers at the end of the title, today marks our 200th episode. And I just want to thank you so much. And if you're enjoying the show, hit the like button and please subscribe. We're really growing. Our goal is to hit 100,000 subscribers, 100K by Election Day. And I just want to thank all of you for making it so successful. So next, Nancy Pelosi was on Fox News Sunday with Chris Walz yesterday. And whenever she talks, it just makes you scratch your head. It makes you wonder, is this woman so partisan that she can't see what's really going on and can only push an agenda, can only talk from the left, only talk politics, and not see what's really going on? So Chris Walz was asking her about President Trump's plan to reopen the economy, and here's how that went.
The president announced a plan this week to reopen the country, and you immediately criticized it. I want to put up what you said. The White House's vague and inconsistent document does nothing to make up for the president's failure to listen to the scientists and produce and distribute national rapid testing.
Vague and inconsistent? Folks, this is the plan that we went over in detail on Friday's show. Step by step. Criteria that needs to be met. This has been put together by the task force that includes Dr. Deborah Birx, Dr. Anthony Fauci, leaders from FEMA, the vice president, experts in the field giving advice, and they came up with this plan, and she calls it vague and inconsistent. So Chris Walz then came back at her and said, well, Dr. Fauci said he's on board with this plan.
If these things are done correctly, what I believe they can, we will have, and there will be enough tests to allow us to take this country safely through phase one.
All right, so Dr. Fauci said that if this plan is executed correctly, there'll be enough tests to get us through phase one. And here's how Pelosi responded.
Don't you believe Dr. Fauci?
Yeah, well, he said if this were to be done properly, well, it hasn't been done. On March 4th, we passed our first bill, bipartisan, testing. It's over 6 weeks since then, and it hasn't been done. So he's saying if it is done properly, we're already very late on that.
All right, so you see what she did there? She did not even answer the question, and that is just a tried and true media tactic. You say what you want to say, you answer what you want. Fauci is talking about going forward, executing this plan, the reopening plan. Chris Walz is talking about the reopening plan, and she's going back saying, oh, we didn't have tests. That's not even what they're talking about. And the whole interview was absolutely outrageous. One in particular I want to point out is Chris Walz asked, hey, Pelosi, you criticize President Trump for not doing enough at the beginning, for downplaying the severity. But you were walking through Chinatown saying everything's good. Check this out.
That's what we're trying to do today, is to say everything is fine here. Come, because precautions have been taken. We think it's very safe to be in Chinatown and hope that others will come.
Everything's fine. Everything's safe. Come on out. That's what she's saying. So Chris Walz said, well, look at this. Aren't you doing the same thing? Why did you do that? Why did you say those things? Here's her answer.
No, what we're trying to do is to end the discrimination, the stigma that was going out against the Asian American community. And
what? She did that to end discrimination? She absolutely downplayed the threat of the coronavirus, and now she says she did this to end discrimination. That's what was going on. Can you believe that? President Trump got on Twitter following this interview on Fox News and said, "Nervous Nancy is an inherently dumb person. She wasted all her time on the impeachment hoax. She will be overthrown either by inside or out, just like her last time as Speaker. Walz and Fox News are on a bad path. Watch." So it's unbelievable what she and the Democrats will do. What they will say, they did the same thing, the media too. They, at the beginning, when President Trump did travel bans and put in restrictions, said that's draconian. You can't do that. That's racist. They tried to downplay the situation. Now he's moving to reopen the economy. They say you can't do that. So whatever President Trump does, they take the opposite approach, even if it contradicts what they did before. It's absolutely amazing. So next I want to talk about something that's really been bothering me, and that is the left's constant attacks on Christianity and faith in general, Christianity in particular, because it goes with their government tenets. The big government push from the left, government control, and in order to have government control, you need to push away the other things that bind people together. Faith, family, love of country, which is different than love of government. If you cripple those, if you disable those, if you downplay their importance, the only thing that's left to bring people together is government. And that's what they do. And you see that in targeted attacks against our love of country, against family, and against faith. Just the other day, we covered it. The New York Times ran a headline that said, "The religious right's hostility to science is crippling the coronavirus response." That's the New York Times. Now, The Guardian has come out against Franklin Graham's organizations, the one that put up a mobile hospital in New York's Central Park to help coronavirus victims. Check out this report. When big white field hospital tents appeared in Central Park in late March, they became a potent symbol of the scale and severity of New York's coronavirus crisis. But just 2 weeks since opening the 68-bed facility run by Franklin Graham's organization, Samaritan's Purse, questions are mounting over why the controversial religious leader, viewed by many to be homophobic, Islamophobic, and politically extreme, was chosen to perform this vital role outside Mount Sinai Hospital on Fifth Avenue, and who sanctioned it. That's just pathetic journalism. I mean, it's just so poor writing. I mean, who are the many? Who are the many that view Franklin Graham this way? Were they interviewed? Did they go on record? Is there video of them announcing their comments? No, it's just a cheap, bogus line used by this reporter that many feel that he's extreme and holds these views. Many, many more think Franklin Graham's a pretty good guy. And here's more from the report. Graham, a close ally whom Donald Trump praised in a recent briefing, has previously described Islam as evil and has described gay people as the enemy. Coronavirus, he recently said, was a result of the sin that's in the world. Samaritan's Purse, which has so far treated 130 coronavirus patients and has about 90 staff at the Central Park Field Hospital, requires all staff and volunteers to sign a statement of faith. So it goes on and on and on, and that's another tactic of these kind of reporters. You label someone as an ally of President Trump, as if that matters, as if the work they're doing there in Central Park isn't saving lives, isn't making people feel better, yet the whole piece was an attack on Franklin Graham and his organization. It's absolutely pointless. It's just a hit piece, and you see that going on and on. But luckily, President Trump is stepping up and protecting and defending religious liberties. You see these cases in Mississippi and Kentucky where people are being fined or threatened or intimidated for going to church services at drive-ins, never leaving their car, practicing social distancing. Well, his Department of Justice is stepping forward, filing a case saying, hey, that's not right. You're not applying that equally. It seems like you're targeting religious organizations, giving others a pass. They're stepping forward. They're doing something about it. So next, I want to talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because she did an interview the other day with the New York Times, a podcast, and it just shows again that one of the tenets of the left is never let a good crisis go to waste.
If in the time between now and then, which is a meaningful number of months, the fragility of our social fabric will become even more clear to people. And Americans might embrace some of the policies that you're fighting for and that a moderate candidate like Joe Biden, who's talking about returning to normal, might normally be wary of.
So the host already thinks that our system of government isn't right, that it's flawed, that it has the potential for us to jump in. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is all over that. She says, yeah, support for Medicare for all has gone up. And then she adds this part.
This pandemic has just exposed us that the fragility of our system, I think I already know. I already hear people telling me, I can't believe I didn't see this before. I cannot believe I didn't see this before. And I'm just thankful that people are seeing it now.
So she's thankful that people are seeing it now. Thankful. Thankful because, again, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the left. And we saw it as all the legislators were coming together to pass those massive coronavirus rescue packages. They were debating things like stimulus checks and unemployment coverage and aid for small businesses. Well, the left jumps in and says, hey, you know what? This is our opportunity. We need to push Green New Deal policies. They tried to get carbon neutrality for airlines, like that has anything to do with what's going on, yet they tried to push it because they saw the opportunity. And here's more from the interview.
Do you think this moment represents an opportunity for the progressive moment? I know it's weird to think of a tragedy as an opportunity, and can it capture that moment without a figure like Sanders at the top?
So a figure like Sanders, I don't even know how you spell that, but she went on and said progressives got elected. They elected people like her because of her personality, and the progressive movement is going forward. And it's going to keep going forward, folks, unless we push back, unless people don't cave in under these crisis situations that the media always hype up. I'm not saying coronavirus isn't bad, but whenever something happens, the media will push an extreme alarmist attitude so that people will flock to government, that they'll say, we'll get rid of some of our freedoms. We want government to protect us. That's exactly what's going on in the minds of these leftists, and they see this as an opportunity, something to be thankful for so they can push their agenda. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Everly. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.